What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Snapshot, we're doing a little bit of target anal assist when we take a look at the Arca Scisco. Now, you can pick up the Scisco's blueprints in the Corpus lab of your clan dojo, but only once you've completed the appropriate research. Also, do be aware that it does require Master Your Rank 10 to craft. Now, I'm not even going to bury the lead here. It's a fucking amazing weapon, so after you see this in action and you can't wait to scope out your enemies with it, you can always pick it up in the market pre-built along with a weapon slot and catalyst for 200 plat. Also be aware that it comes in the Arca bundle for 550. Go ahead and take a look at all the things available in there and see if it's worth your platinum. Now, the Scisco, or Scisco, or however you want to pronounce it, is a semi-automatic projectile-based sniper pistol, and following suit with the rest of the Arca series, its supplemental stats are going to trigger those with even a touch of OCD. Its critical chance is 18%, whilst its multiplier is 1.6. Rocking both prime crit mods, it maxes out at a 51.7% chance to crit with a 3.4 times critical multiplier. In addition, its status chance sits at 26%, combined with a pair of status elemental mods alongside the standard multi-shot mods, and you'll be sitting at 90.7%. This pairs extremely well with the fact that it's got a large clip, respectable fire rate, and a very impressive accuracy. Of course, that's not where it stops. The Scisco has a built-in mechanic that additively boosts both its critical and status chance by 4% for every projectile that strikes an enemy, maxing out at 5 stacks for a total bonus of 20%. Keep in mind that each projectile for multi-shot is counted individually, allowing you to get multiple stacks in a single pull of the trigger. Each of these stacks have a lifetime of 2 seconds, gradually falling off one by one, with the bonus of a full 5 stacks lasting you a total of 10 seconds before the effect completely disappears. Also note that you do not need to be scoped in order to trigger target analysis, however it does provide you UI indicators and seems to help control the recoil a good bit. Now, as for the build, there's really not too much to talk about here, as it is the standard hybrid critical and status build, with the only real point of contention being this last slot. Now, as you can see, I chose to go with MAME, however, upon testing, hydraulic crosshairs does just as well, so honestly, feel free to swap them as you like, but I'm gonna point it out here because of the fact that this weapon is quite good. You might want to consider that as your Riven slot if you happen to be so lucky to get your hands on one of those. Let's go ahead and take a look at how all of this performs. Alright, now one of the things that I didn't really mention in the scripted portion was the fact that this thing doesn't actually have a base of IPS, it's only P and S, which is puncture and slash. It's got a decent bit of both, with puncture kind of outweighing the slash, which is why I actually went ahead and used the main mod in there to boost up the slash to kind of prioritize it in the status queue, because that's really where a lot of the damage is being done from here. As you can see, it is literally just bypassing all of that armor. It's inflicting that viral to kind of like half the health and letting those slash procs eat away at the enemy. It's fucking fantastic, and I have to say that this has become one of my favorite secondaries so far. Number one, I know this sounds really weird, but the sound on it feels really good. The fire rate feels really good. The fact that it's got such a large clip and can literally burn through a little billy right there without having to reload is absolutely amazing. That's not something that you can say about a lot of weapons out there, and this one, I don't know, this just feels good overall. Like, even the sniper scope window is pretty goddamn sick as well. I actually want to go ahead and toss on the hydraulic crosshairs for you guys to see real fast, because of the fact that, you know, maybe you don't have MAME, or I don't know, for some reason you just don't feel like using MAME. I want to kind of give you guys an idea of how that one performs as well, because it's pretty good, and it's one of those things that I don't tend to use hydraulic crosshairs. You guys know that I like the critical damage boost instead. However, because of the fact that this gives you more consistent crits, it works just as well as the slash mod, right? And that's one of the big things about this, is it sits at about 70% critical chance, but you know, using hydraulic crosshairs kind of boosts it up to 100%, which makes it a bit more consistent, which, you know, gives you the option of using that one instead of your slash mod. Sorry, I forgot to reload there, but as you can see, it's dealing a good chunk of damage right there. The only thing that I do have to say that I'm kind of meh about, I'm not really meh about, it's not that bad, but when you're not scoped, it does feel that the recoil kicks up a decent bit, as you guys can kind of see here. You kind of have to like you kind of have to aim just a little bit. It kind of kicks up just a little bit so that when you're in full, like, shooting stride, you're like a little bit higher than when you started, and that does feel a little bit awkward. However, I am the kind of person that likes going in for scopes, and can we just say, can I just put this out there into the universe? I am so goddamn happy that this doesn't require you to be scoped in order to get those stacks, that you can kind of choose to like go back and forth if need be. Because, you know, not everybody wants to stay in a scoped window, and sometimes you're just running and gutting. Sometimes you just want to shoot while you jump. Whenever you're doing your like cool parkour stuff, and it's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit staggering to go between, you know, just jumping normally than having to zoom into the scope. And the great thing about this too is that the scope isn't like crazy, ridiculous intense like some of the other snipers out there, so it doesn't feel too bad to go into scoped if you want to go into scoped, and to jump back and forth between the two is actually really fantastic. I think that was one of the big issues that I had with the Volcar and the Volcar Wraith, is that, like, I don't know what it was, but that zoom, the zoom in that it had kind of like made me a little bit queasy, and this doesn't do that, so it's quite nice. So all in all, the Arca Scisco is fucking fantastic. You guys need to pick this one up ASAP. Legitimately, it gets my like gold star approval of the entire set. I know that the Plasmor and the Tin Hammer have like way better models and really cool energy effects. Not that the projectile from the Scisco isn't cool, but the other two kind of like outshine it in that case. But performance-wise, the Scisco is absolutely demolishing. If you guys are a fan of the Ac Magnus or the Pandero, this one is going to be right up your alley. It's got like really cool mechanics behind it, really nice mix of crit and status, which gives you some upfront damage for the lower levels, and of course all of the status effects for the later levels. It's just a really good mix, even down to the fact that they've trimmed down the IPS just to the PS. Regardless, that does it for the facts and figures. I'm super fond of this one. However, we're gonna go ahead and jump into gameplay, so if you want to stick around for that, please feel free. However, if you're only here for like all of the numbers and stuff, I'll see you guys later. But gameplay is coming up next. Alright, so we are now in full-on Snuggie mode, and we can go ahead and start talking about exactly what makes the Scisco a successful status weapon as opposed to the Plasmor. Now, the Plasmor, even though it had a good chunk of status to it, one of the things that it didn't have was a good fire rate, a good magazine, and I guess you would say enough pellets to kind of make it worth it. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Arca Scisco, which has a shit ton of fire rate. Of course, as we know, secondaries have, you would call it a bunch of pellets. However, the real case for it is the fact that it's got a good chunk of multi-shot that can kind of be applied. So we've got the ability to apply a lot of status in a short amount of time, and that's really where status shines. In addition to that, we get the trimmed down IPS, which, honest to goodness, like, I was like, holy shit, they're like really pushing this in a status way, because if you think about it, that's really, we want the slash. We want the slash, so they're like, alright, we'll give you the slash. It won't be the primary damage type. It won't be the primary damage type for this weapon, but we'll give you the slash in some way, shape, or form, you know? So it was kind of like their way of saying, we'll give you a little bit, and then you combine that with the critical chance in this weapon, and it's absolutely fucking fantastic, right? So you get this really nice mix, and that's why I like the hybrid status crit weapons so much, because you do get some of that front end damage from the crit. You're not solely relying on the status to stack up in order to really do anything. So whether you're just trying to shred armor so you can do damage, you don't have to wait for that, and you don't necessarily have to wait to apply like stacks and stacks upon stacks of slash in order to get your damage across, right? So it's kind of nice to be able to have the crit as your like upfront damage for, you know, like the mid-tier level kind of stuff. Because listen, you know, sometimes a weapon can be really good at endgame, but absolute shit when it comes to mid-tier content. And I know I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get some heat for saying this, but that's kind of like how I feel about the Tigris. Like, I don't actually really enjoy using it that much. Because I'm not a fan of its usability. Yes, I am shooting into the puddle to help him deal more damage. I'm just putting that out there. I'm aware of what he's doing, and I'm trying to support him in his endeavors, because, you know, we want to show some love to the puddle man. But no, like, legitimately, it's nice to have a combination of both because, like I was saying, the Tigris, right, or the Tigris Prime, you can kill things at lower levels, but because of the fact that it's got like such a the duplex auto thing just does not really work all that well for me, you know? I'm not a big fan of having to reload after basically every unload, right? So for me, it's usable at low levels, but there are other things that are more optimal because of the fact that you can kill a lot faster, right? So in this case, with the, oh my god, what is this called? The Scisco. With the Scisco, I can't tell what's what. Because of this Necros, you're confusing me. I don't know what anything is anymore. No. But legitimately, what ends up happening is kind of like, because you have this, because you have the, you know, the crit mixed into it, it's usable at the lower levels, it's easy to use at the lower levels. It's not this just kind of like endgame monster. It's like, alright, we'll give you some crit for the mid levels, and then we'll go ahead and put in the status for the late levels. And because of the fact that you're getting the bonuses off of its use, it kind of really feels rewarding to like unload into an enemy, right? You're like, ooh, I'm getting stacks upon stacks upon stacks, and it's quite nice. And it just makes you feel good. And I don't know if I had mentioned it, I probably did at some point, but I really like the sound design on it. Like the little, it's got this little wind up like, when I think it's reload? Is it? I think it is. It's a reload. It's right there. It's like, and I'm really fond. It's little things like that that make you happy, right? And I have to admit, that's exactly where this weapon succeeds. It's got all of the little bits coming together to make something really immensely powerful. It's got enough crit, it's got enough status, it's got cool little pistol laser effects, I guess you would say. I know it's just like a projectile stream, but it looks like I'm shooting out little lasers, and I kind of love it at the same time. So there's a lot to love about this weapon. This is where this weapon succeeds over the Plasmor. Not that the Plasmor is bad in any way, shape, or form, but as a status weapon, this is where it wins. You get the multi-shot, you have all of those bullets that kind of fly out, it's got a fast fire rate, lots of magazine size so that you can plow through enemies quickly. It's just a great overall weapon, and again, I'm not trying to dog the Plasmor because I still really like the Plasmor, and I will take that Plasmor over the lens any day because the lens keeps killing me so much. Technically, it's me killing me, but you know, I'll prefer to blame it on the lens because that's my life. Regardless, that does it for now. Let me know how you guys feel about this. Are you excited to see its performance? Because it's performing like really well. Or, and here's a caveat, we have the Pandero, we have the Act Magnus, we have a lot of very similar weapons that can do similar things. Are you feeling kind of like, yeah, it's just another take on something that I've already seen? Because that is one argument that I felt like I was playing around with this. I'm like, feels very similar to the Pandero. You know, it doesn't have the fan the hammer, but it has this cool kind of like sniper effect. And you know what? Act Magnus is also very similar. It feels it's nice because I believe like the Act Magnus doesn't have that much recoil either, so it's got a decent fire rate and all that kind of stuff. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. I hope you guys are excited, as excited about this weapon as I am. See, I'm so excited I can't even speak straight. No, maybe that's just the gay thing. Regardless, as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. Get your hands on this gun and let me know how you feel too, because I'm kind of loving it right now. But yeah, that about does it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!